Hello and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Dan Hotka. I am your moderator today. I am recording this session and I do have everybody muted. If you have a question, if you would put it in the chat window, I will monitor the chat window and get to the questions as they come in. This is my short disclaimer. A little bit about me. I am an Oracle ACE director. I've been around Oracle, the database, for a long time. We ACE directors are challenged with sharing the technology amongst the community, the Oracle community, which is these Lunch and Learns. I choose to speak at user groups and trade shows around the world, and I do these Monday morning Lunch and Learns to share technology with you folks. I've been around IT for a long time. I've been around Oracle almost as long. I'm going to be up to 14 books by the end of the year. I've got 2 in the works. You can register at my website, which is conveniently plastered on everything, to receive the links Monday morning when I set these meetings up. I'll talk about any public courses I have going on, any new book deals and stuff in the works. I do regularly blog, and I do training for a living. I have a one-fee course, either for on-site or over the web. There's some advantages to both. I do have a portable computer lab, okay, and the fee includes everything but the airfare. So, training courses include, new course is SQL and PL SQL Performance Tuning. I'm pretty excited about this one. I've actually taken parts of my advanced PL SQL class and the SQL Tuning class for developers, added a little bit more to it and added quite a bit to the advanced PL SQL side, so that I've come up with this new course. Oracle 12c New Features is another course that I'm offering. Of course, the tuning course itself, the programming class by itself, and intro classes and the like. Okay. Today's Lunch and Learn is on SQL Developer. Some tips and tricks that I picked up from Jeff Smith's presentation at Oracle Open World. And let me answer one audio question. Review the text you received. This webinar to connect to the audio. Okay. This presentation, most of the tips comes from Jeff Smith. If you have a chance to see Jeff at a trade show, user group, sit in on it, because he's always adjusting the presentation, always adding new things. Next week starts my Explain Plan series. The month of November, I hope to be an Explain Plan month. I'm going to go through, I'm going to start off with some cool, newer Explain Plan syntax using DBMS XPlan. Some newer syntax that's available. I'll talk about some Oracle 12 things as well. And then I'm going to get into how Oracle puts together an Explain Plan, why is that important to you, and Explain Plan content. Of course, as always, the presentations and slides will be available on my website shortly after this presentation. Okay, today's topic is SQL Developer. I did pick up several of the notes that I'm going to talk about today from Jeff Smith's presentation called Tips and Tricks he did at Open World. Again, you'll want to sit in on anything that Jeff is doing whenever he's available to you, because he does a heck of a good job. He's always adding things to this presentation, and it's usually worth your time to sit in on it. I'm going to talk just a little bit about some new features coming up in the latest release. I'm going to spend most of the time on setup stuff. I have got one cool trick to show you that I think you will find very useful. And I want to share some of my tips with you on getting SQL Developer to start up a little quicker. Okay, SQL Developer version 4.0.3 is either out or will be out shortly. and check the OTN website, just go to oracle.com and do a search on SQL Developer, and it will come up. Okay. They've got a new tunneling feature, so if you're connecting through a VPN, you'll be able to tunnel through that and get to your Oracle databases very easily. They have added a template for cloning databases, make that far easier for you. They have quite the integration with SQL Modeler. I'm not sure if this came in the latest release or not, but they have quite the integration with their free SQL Modeler tool, drag and drop operations, building ERD diagrams and such on the fly, showing a lot of useful information and showing it quickly. Some setup stuff. Okay, several of the things, they can be annoying, like you click on an object and it will open up a whole bunch of information on that object, show the query results. You can wiping out the prior results. You might want to see the two results together. You might want to open the query results in a new tab. There's some tips on connecting a little quicker. I've got some code completion things. Again, kind of goes back to the original. The automatic features can be kind of annoying. How to control the pop-ups that come up to help you. Okay? Kind of the highlight of this, I want to talk a little bit about the SQL history, okay? And I've got some useful information here, and what's neat is this contains some useful information. And again, it's a startup issue. You want to pay attention to what I have to say, okay? The output tips. This is something that only SQL Developer does. Is some output stuff. I will show you that. It's really cool. And then I'm going to conclude with some tips to help you get SQL Developer to open up a little quicker. Okay? So starting off, you go to Preferences, on the Tools, Preferences, and on the Object Viewer. When you click on an object to display the information, you can turn that behavior off if you'd like. If you just want to be able to click on it and then start doing some work, click the drag and drop perhaps, something like that. You don't want it to jump and open up a panel. It doesn't have to do that. The next tip is down on the Worksheet tab here under Database Worksheet. Again, if you want to see multiple query results, you might want to open them in new tabs. Okay? So you check this on, and every time you execute a SQL, it will open it up in a new tab. Okay? So we can see that on the same panel, we've got SQL history, limit of 100. That might not be enough. 1,000 might be too many. Do remember that this is stored in a file, and SQL Developer reads this file upon startup, and that is a reason why SQL Developer can take a little longer to run if this isn't managed correctly. Okay. Now, connecting under Database Advanced, or SQL Developer will connect just a little bit faster if you give it the SQLnet information that it desires on this Preferences panel. All right, go in. You can configure them, browse for the right TNS names directory where it is, and that's the one that it will use, and it will save it some search time. Notice on the same panel we've got auto commit is turned off. If you'd like, anytime you do an insert, update, or delete, you'd like it to automatically be posted to the database, SQL Developer can do that as well. Okay, so the next one are when you start typing in a table name, okay, you'll get a pop-up, and it'll give you whatever characters you entered. It'll give you all the tables and objects available that start with that. If you find that irritating but useful, you can slow it down so that if you're typing along, it doesn't just pop up automatically, but if you pause for a second, you can bump this out to a second. If you pause for a second, you can go ahead and let it pop up. You can disable it altogether. Same thing with the auto pop-up for the PL SQL editor. Okay, you can slow it down and do things. Now, this is kind of neat down here. change case as you type. You can force it to do uppercase, lowercase. If you're always changing things, you can change it as you see fit. And this one right above it I find incredibly handy, because I tell everyone code with table aliases and put those table aliases up on any column that's being referenced anywhere in the query. It makes the query self-documenting, and when someone like me comes along to do some performance tuning on that query, I know exactly where to go find those columns. Okay? So, okay, SQL history. It's F8, Shift F8 will pop up this panel. A lot of times it's down on the lower corner of SQL Developer. I apologize, I'm having just a little LAN difficulty today, so I'm running today's presentation off my hotspot. I do not have a database available. Otherwise I would do a live demo of this stuff. But the SQL history is very nice. You can see the one that I was playing with some table aliases in it. And it will save, like I say, I've got it to save 100 of these right now, so you can do partial text search. The history is quite nice if you run off at the end of the day and forgot to save your work. The other time that it's really nice is when you're doing performance tuning, where you're tweaking things around, and like 2 SQL statements ago, 3 SQL statements ago, it ran a little faster. Now how do you tell? Because right here, this is the useful information I was talking about. How many times did you run it, and what is its execution time? Right in there with it. When did you run it? What time did you run it? And how long did it take to run? So now you can see that. You double click on these, it will bring it back into a SQL window, and life is good. Again, SQL Developer reads this at startup time. You don't want to save too many. 100 might not be enough. I think 100's a nice number, though. I don't have a problem with 100 SQL statements. So, anyway, keep that in mind. Now, a tip, which is only a SQL Developer trick, is you can format the output directly without having to right mouse click, pick export, pick the one that you want. You can get the output to come out in comma separated values in an Excel spreadsheet, in HTML, in XML. How do you want the output to come out? It supports all of the supported output formats, and you need to run it as a script. And remember, this is only a SQL Developer trick. Okay? So we got this select star from M, and there it is. And if I wanted to save this as a comma separated values, i.e. to go into a spreadsheet somewhere else, I'd have to right mouse click down in this area and pick export and pick comma separated value. If I just put this text in there, this little text box, the output, the script out, and run it as a script, it will come out in the format that I want. And if you right mouse click and pick the export format, I picked all of the ones. And notice it's got a little slider bar here, so there's even some more options. But that's what you put in there. It is case sensitive, and no spaces, slash asterisk, CSV, asterisk, slash, or whatever is in here. It will perform that and give you the output directly. Isn't that slick? SQL Developer only. Okay, some tips to start up SQL Developer to speed it up on startup. Keep your SQL history to a minimum, and turn off the features not being used. SQL Developer has a lot of add-ons, add-ins, and code to support the different database types that Oracle supports. If you're not working with those, turn them off. SQL Developer version 4, it's on the menu bar, Tools, Features. SQL Developer version 3, it's Tools, Preferences, and then it's not called Features. It might be called Add-ins or something. It's down near the bottom of the list. But it's the same thing, and it kind of looks like this. It will show you all the different features. They come enabled by default. Turn them off. If you're not using Migration Application Workbench, turn it off. Turn off these different, if you don't have times 10 in your shop, turn it off. If you're not using Spatnel, Apex, all these things, turn them off. And the more you turn off, the faster SQL Developer will start up. It loads, these are not DLLs, but it loads this code as part of its startup routine. So you can speed things up by being selective here. Okay. This brings us up to the end of our presentation today. I like to keep these short. I want to thank you all for coming. Again, the slides and links to this presentation will be available on my website shortly. Let people know about these. We're getting the head counts getting up on these. I appreciate your support and your patronage. Let people know that you find these useful. Do keep in touch. I want to thank you again for your time today, and do remember me for your training needs.